Hi, I'm Dan. Welcome to Pay Down Debt Solutions. Today we're going to look at an example, positive cash flow. Not a big positive cash flow, but a good one, positive $375. And always, I told you in the previous video, I'm going to start every video. If you're wondering if this will work for you, if it's right for you, organize all your income and expenses by chargeable, non-chargeable. So you can split it up. Take your total income, subtract your non-chargeable expenses from your total income. That'll give you your available income. And it's available income to pay down your debt using the velocity banking method that we teach here at Pay Down. And if this number, I'll explain the now later, but the $2,040, if your available income is equal to or greater than your chargeable expenses, velocity banking will work for you. And obviously we have a channel, I highly recommend it. Now, by, let's call it semi-voluntary, she's changing her employment down the road. So right now it's $2,838, which isn't reflected by this. It's going to change to, the available income is going to decrease to $2,040. And she wants to pay this off. This, I know this is the biggest list I've ever made on the board. It's not the most I've ever seen helping students out with coaching calls, with 18 credit cards. There's also some loans. We're not going to get into the loans. All we're going to look at is helping her pay off these credit cards. So, what's the rule of thumb? Always go after the biggest payment. Rule of thumb, a mutable law. It's arguable. But remember, it's your cash flow that pays down the principal on your credit card. It's velocity banking that reduces the interest you're paying simultaneously to increase the dollars going to pay down your principal. So we go right after that biggest payment. That's going to be your debt destroyer. All these interest rates are within a 2% window. Probably a little less. I didn't do the math on that, but just looking at them, well, there's some big ones. There's a 35. But all of them besides that 35 and that 34 down there, most of them in a 2% window. That 28.99 is not a bad percent to use compared to all the other ones for the debt destroyer. And she's got a limit of $5,961 on that Capital One Quicksilver card. So we pick that because it's also got enough to get all her expenses in. Right? And, well, heck, we can just get right into it. So I just want you guys, what I want to emphasize, I'm going to show you some math on this. I'll show you the math for the step one, the interest coming in, but you see how fast it is. This is daunting. I couldn't even imagine living with the stress of this. 18 different cards, even if you have them all in auto pay, just the stress of worrying about them, trying to track them, trying to make a decision. Where do I begin? What's the best way to pay this down? Again, start with your biggest payment, work your way down. You'll see me, it doesn't follow that pattern exactly, but I also break down all the way to the interest in there. But you will see it follow. You'll see several $30 payments here. And I always try and bring over the highest balance. If it's the same interest, the same payment, go for the highest balance. Bring it in, because that's costing you the most interest, given that payment. So if you can pay that off, increase your cash flow, you're also decreasing the interest going out while you're paying that one down. I hope I didn't lose anybody there, but you get it. Same interest rate, higher balance, you're paying more interest on it. Get that higher balance down first. Then you got the smaller balances still costing you interest, right? So within 2 months, and this is what I want to show you. So we started with $4,818 balance, $176 monthly payment. In 2 months, they'll have enough room to pay off the Capital One Platinum. And what's that look like? All right, so we're going to start with $4,818 is the starting balance on the debt destroyer. Again, that Quicksilver, Capital One Quicksilver, right? So the available income, remember I said now, the time we did this with the student, was $2,838. Once you pick your debt destroyer, you increase your available income by that $176. That monthly payment goes away, and that's the one a lot of people have an issue where we say satisfies. Just think of it this way. You're no longer holding your money in your checking account and sending a $176 payment. You're taking your available income and putting on the card, making a big payment. So you're automatically making that payment by putting your available income on that card. So it's no longer a payment going out, so you have to add it back in to include it because it's not leaving your account anymore. You're covering it by putting your available income on your card. So we start with that $4,818 for the month. And in that month, $3,014 available income. which takes us down to 1,804. Then we got to add back in, right? So nice, it knocked it down real nice to save on that average daily balance. But now we got to add back in 1,664 chargeable expenses for the month. And the interest. In that first month, that 28.99, I'll show you how we calculate in a second, but the first month was $80, right? So that comes to the ending balance after our first month of $3,548. So you can see, like I said, cash flow pays down your principal. So you got available income, the difference between your available income, your chargeable expenses, in this case it is, I wrote it down, $1,350. You subtract this $80 interest from it that month, and that's the difference right here. That's how much principal you paid off in the 1 month, plus the savings on interest by lowering the average daily balance. So I said real fast, always want to make shortcuts, help people do the math. So if you have 28.99%, that's your annual interest rate on your credit card, right? The way it's expressed now, you can't really use it mathematically. You got to divide that by 100, right? And that's going to move your decimal point. This is going to seem like a, I don't remember what grade this is. Let's say junior high, middle school math problem. It's going to move your decimal point over. So it's going to change to 0.2899. I'm sorry, I've done so much math. Everything's just a shortcut to me now. 0.2899, but that's for the whole year. So we're going to divide that by 12, because we just need to get an estimate. Divide by 12, right? 0.02416. And then we'll take that, and what we do is we take this starting high balance, the lowest balance you'll reach for the month, after, right? We're just averaging it together. Now remember this, I mean, I have had people where this is a lump sum. People with a pension, some people on Social Security because they get that monthly payment, then they just put it all on there. Other people, it's going to be coming in, right? Weekly, bi-weekly. Obviously, monthly paycheck is the same thing I just described. So it'll be a little different, but we average the two together. So we add the high and the low, we average them, we divide by 2. And I'll do that because I want, in case someone's following at home, we average them together, it's $3,311. And now we're going to multiply by that. 0.02416. There you go, $79.99. So we round it up to $80. I hope it seems simple. And really, it might seem a little difficult at first, but once you do it 10, 15 times, once you get in the groove, if you want to figure out this for yourself, you right? So let's take it. So this only got us 1 month. That's $3,548. We haven't gotten to month 2 yet. We haven't made enough room to pay this balance off, that Capital One Platinum yet. So we got to go 1 more month. The next month again, 3,014 is coming off our available income, dropping our balance down to 534. Then we put our expenses on there, that 1,664. And now this monthly interest, same calculation. Here we're taking our highest starting balance for the month, the lowest we can achieve, add them together, divide by 2 to get the average, take that average number and multiply it. I call this is your interest multiplier. You can't multiply something by 28.99. Just if you have $100, 28% interest, think about that. If you multiply by 28.9, it'd be $2,800, $2,899, right? So you got to put that into a number you can use, not a percentage, but a multiplier, and that's what we did. We divided by 100 to take it out of percentage, 0.28. Now that makes sense. Think about multiplying that. You have 28%, 28.99% of 100, right? Divide it by 12. 0.02416, that's your interest multiplier per month, because we're just averaging it out to give you guys an as accurate of an estimate as we can without pouring down to the very day every bill comes in, every dollar comes in and goes out. All right, so where's that put us? That's $50 interest this time, but it brings the balance down to $2,248. So month 1, right? We started essentially 0. We got to month 2. We've dropped that debt destroyer balance down to 2,248, right? Working the velocity banking method. So once that goes in there, this, having made payments on this, of course it doesn't drop a lot because you're paying so much interest on a credit card payment, but that dropped. I know better now than to use my finger, it just smears. That had lowered to 2,529. Oop, I wrote an 8, sorry. Yeah, after I just said that, I did it anyway because I don't want to get mired down. Yeah, so it only dropped, was it $40? Yeah, with a $90 payment. So at 2 months, we're already able to pay off the first card with our debt destroyer, because the debt destroyer is our first card. So that one goes away. So our available income immediately increases by $90 because our chargeable expenses just decreased by that payment. And repeats, repeats, repeats. The point wasn't to show you, well, the point was to show you this number of credit cards. I know the feeling. I never got to 18. I think Jen and I got to somewhere 11, 13. I know it was in the low teens. Somewhere there, I'm preaching to the choir, essentially. Everyone knows how terrible it feels. But I don't want you guys, anyone watching this and you see this and you see the math, and I want you guys to see how overwhelming this looks. Look at all this stuff. Look at all this math you got to do. When it's you and you decide to do velocity banking yourselves, you don't have to think about any of this. Say, I'm going to start with my highest payment, make it my debt destroyer. Don't even worry about all the other details. I'm going to start with my highest payment, that's my debt destroyer. Once I get that low enough, I'm going to try and pay off the next one. Now, if your credit's so bad, you can't get a balance transfer. You can't move money through PayPal to use PayPal to pay it. There's a fee, but with 28, 29% interest rates, you're still coming up way ahead. You know, even paying 2 to 5%, let's say, transaction fees. Just work your way down. That's your plan. Figure out your budget, organize your total income, your total expenses, break it down, figure out the money moving in and out. A lot of you guys already have an idea of this. Because I live it, paycheck to paycheck. Right? You're paying a check and you're paying attention. That is your budget. A lot of people think of budget like diet. Oh no, it's where I cut and cut and cut. If you're currently maintaining, you accounting for your expenses is your budget. Just like your diet is whatever you eat. You don't have to be on a diet. A diet is whatever you're eating. I hope that's a good analogy. Hope I didn't lose too many people, but basically that is your budget. So stick to it. If you already verified your numbers, stick to it. No, you're going to start with your highest payment, work yourself highest to lowest. You don't have to worry about all this. None of this. That's part of the reason I showed. See, 14 months, credit card debt free. Traditionally, just consistently making payments. Now, obviously, the situation would be if you paid a card off, maybe you move money, to pay another card off faster. But just those payments would take almost 10 years, 119 months, cost $14,841 in interest. Doing this in 14 months, the credit card debt's free. Oops, sorry. She's credit card debt free, and she saved $11,584. So she saved, 105 months. She saved almost 9 years paying it back and saved $11,500 in 14 months. That's how fast. So again, I wrote all this down so you guys could just see. So I know if you're sitting there with that sick feeling, if you're like me, you're worried about, gosh, like if the transmission finally goes on the truck, how am I going to pay for it? I didn't write the limits on this, but everything was fairly close. I don't remember anything having a big enough gap to pay off a transmission replacement. That was just a random example. Brake pads, whatever, tires. Your kids need clothes for school or new tennis shoes, whatever it is for you guys. This is daunting, right? It's daunting because I want to lay it out and show you where you're going. I want to show you the future. I want to show the steps for you, right? But what does it actually look like for the person? For you who's just thinking, hey, is velocity banking right for me? Can I save money? Let's say you got an idea of it. You're convinced, hey, I believe these numbers. I've done them myself. I've played around. I can do it, but man, I got 18 credit cards. Like, you got to organize, right? Organize, identify, implement. You got to organize. You identify. I start with my highest payment. I work my way down. If your credit, you cannot, once you get this paid off, you can't get a balance transfer. There's no 0% offers in your future. You call and ask for a balance transfer, convenience check or something like that. They do most of them online now. But say you cannot get it. Just change your debt destroyer. Switch your debt destroyer. Make it that new card. Don't get overwhelmed. This is all, you're going to do this on a day. You're going to look at all these, maybe the same day, maybe another day. Depends on how busy you are, how many hours you're working every day. Right? Pick with that highest. Move down. Now you've identified your debt destroyer. And you've identified your next debt destroyer. It's all just there. It's all just in your monthly statements. Pick it. Implement it. Right? So what's it look like implementing it? I showed you implementing it where it goes for 14 months. You're going to look at just those calculations I did. You're going to go, okay, my first check comes in. Portion of my income is going to go into it, right? You're going to hold back. I call it cash management. Once you set this up, once you get your credit card paying the bills that it can, whether it's automatic or whether you have to go in there, like two of my electric and gas, I actually have to go in there and pay them. So I get the bill, I go in there and pay them. They have my, keep my credit card information on their website. Right? So you're going to get all this set up, and then you just might have to switch it. I've said in previous videos, just notebook, notepad, whatever. Some put it somewhere so you don't have to hide it. Put your information on there. What's my password? What's my login? Switch your next credit card. Do the next one. So what does it look like? You're just going to start. You're okay. I got it. You're going to go paycheck comes in. You're never going to put more than your available income each month on your card. Right? Unless you get an extra one. Right, sorry about that. There was some commotion. We got a new puppy in the house. So I do a little jump at it. But basically, I call it cash management. You set up all your payments, whether you have to do them manually, like I described earlier, with my electric and gas bill, you just go in and pay, and they keep your credit card on file. Or it's auto pay with a credit card. My trash pickup actually is my credit card's on file. They're just auto charging my credit card every month, which is very nice because I just got double check that it matches the bill to make sure that they're not taking too much. Anyway, so organize, identify, biggest to smallest. Easiest way. Then you start implementing it. Implementing it, as long as you can track your budget, whether you break it down weekly, it's always a discretionary, right? Your bills are going to vary. Month to month, your electric, your gas, water, things like that. Sometimes a lot, sometimes a little. But you don't have to pour over every single thing. If you got paycheck here, right? Here's paycheck 1, not necessarily week 1, whenever it comes in. Paycheck 2. Right? All you got to pay attention, you get paid today. How many bills do you need cash for? Rent, mortgage, loans, other credit cards. That's what you hold on to. So this 5,367 is the total income. Divide that by 2. Let's just round it to make these numbers easy. Let's say $2,700 paycheck. $2,700 paycheck. Right? Little over with that, but close enough. Close enough for what we're doing here. So you got $27 paycheck. And you're like, well, hey, whether it's that one, we'll go with this one because that's what it changed to. The now actually went away. I think I had it written there about 5-6 month period. But let's say it's at 2040. You're not going to dump it all, especially if you have, say you get $700 in chargeable expenses before your next paycheck. Well, now you know. I got to hold back $700 in my account. If I can put $2,000 onto my credit card, onto my debt destroyer credit card, right? And that gets you to your next paycheck. This is the step. Either there's two number one, the number one, number two ways people usually fail. Usually, almost always, the number one and number two ways people fail at velocity banking is they don't hold back the proper amount of cash. They forget they have a bill coming, before the next paycheck. They overlook something, which, or if you get highly organized, it shouldn't. It might vary a little because of the days and the months, but that'll indicate as long as you know your bills. Antihistamines are messing me up. As long as you hold back the cash to pay your chargeable expenses, you can put your available on your card. So now it's, look at my example, how big that was. So now you go here and you're like, well, what bills do I have here? Remember, you're rolling. So you got another paycheck here. This could be 3 weeks in the same month. This could be bi-weekly. This one starts the next month. So when you got a mortgage or a rent payment due, and you're going to do the same thing. I have to keep enough cash, right? But I only gave this one, say you get 700 expenses. What was our total expenses? 4,991. So you're not there yet. And if you had, just going off this example a little, let's say you had a $3,000 mortgage. I mean, that'd be insane. But if you had a $3,000 mortgage, that paycheck can't cover it, right? So here, zero going to the credit card. There's nothing going to the credit card. You got 2,700. And you got 2,700 here. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Leading you guys astray. Right? You got $3,000 payment coming up, right? And you got that $2,700 paycheck. Well, where's that money come from? Well, it means you got to hold it here. You got to see what you got coming. What if you got the mortgage and you got the gas bill and everything? Just add them up, and that's what you keep here. You go, hey, going forward, I've got a $3,000 payment coming. So hey, I only got 2,700. That means I got 300. I got to hold on to 300 in my checking account, hold till my next payday. So then what do you got here? You got 2,400 to go on your credit card, onto that credit card debt destroyer. It is easier than even this when you are living it. You guys already budget. You are already aware of where all your money's coming in, where your money's going out. You just need to quantify it. That means organize it, add it up to see. Because I've had people, I'm like, I don't get it. Like, how are you? Because they kept telling me, like, no, I'm upside down. I'm like, you gave me these numbers. I'm upside down. They didn't think about how they spent like $10 a day in vending at work. And they work Monday through Friday. That's $200 a month. That was their upside down. They knew they did that, but they took it for granted because it wasn't like consistent. It was like, oh, every day I get it. But they pretty much did. Every day they work, they get a snack. I do the same thing. In the morning, I always get something with caffeine and something sweet. Kickstart my day, right? Same thing. That's why. Pour down into the minutia. Track your budget however you see fit. Whether you got to go like, hey, I got $20 a day, or I got $100 a week, or $400 a month, and you just track it as it goes down. Stick to your budget. Plan how much cash you have to hold in your checking account for the coming non-chargeable bills that require cash in your checking account to send out payments, and work your way backwards if necessary, if you got a big one out there. And that's it. You just hold back your cash. And I've said it in previous videos, I'm going to stop saying that. I'm just going to keep introducing. I'm sorry. It's a terrible, terrible habit. It's like saying, I'm trying to think of what I want to say next, to be sure of what I want to say next. So manage your cash. Let the chargeable expenses not pay for themselves. Let your credit card work the chargeable expenses. Pay attention to your discretionary spending. You got to eat. So groceries, we have where, say we go to like a Costco, we might spend $400. Well, then the next 3 trips will be cheaper. Going in where we're at, there's a Meijer. Going to Meijer will be less because you're not buying as much, meat or big bulk items, things like that. So average it. So you always have an idea. So if you spent more on your groceries this month or this week, let's say between paychecks, and less here, when you budgeted, you would have averaged to begin with. So you should be able to stay in the average and just pay attention to discretionary spending. It doesn't, when I write it up here, I wish I could just impart this on everyone that comes across this video. It looks complex because I'm showing you from the beginning to the end. When you're living it, these are all very simple steps. This takes the most time because sometimes you gotta look at your transactions, whether online or print. Get all organized. Identifying is easy. Start with your biggest payment. Work to your smallest payment. If you start getting in a groove, you start feeling good. Remember, each credit card you pay off, your FICO score is going to go up because your utilization score is going to improve because your utilization value will go down. The percent of total credit balances divided by all your credit limits. That gives you your utilization. I'm not going to get into the math because it's boring on how they calculate your FICO score. With each payment, you're going to improve your FICO. With each debt paid off and a payment eliminated, you will increase your FICO score. So as she's working through this, she'll start getting, like she pays a card to 12, all of a sudden they'll go, hey, we're going to send you a 0% balance. And of course, anywhere in here, your credit starts improving, you start getting 0% balance offers. Maybe don't do, if you're, this one was like every month or two, there was a payment or a card paid off. But if for you, you got this one in 2 months, you don't want to do a 0% on that one. In 2 months, you're going to pay it off. Yeah, you save a little bit. No, do the one 6 months out. Because a lot of times these are 12-month or 18-month 0%. Try to be tactical with it, but it's hard to go wrong. Just move it. Move that 0%, that fee, especially with bigger interest rates, the 3 to 5%, long run and short run. We had someone that had 7 cards. They were just bouncing between 0%. They had good credit. They had a little bit positive cash flow. Similar to this, they just kept bouncing. They were paying those 5%. They were never paying 28 or 29 or 30% annual percentage rate. They just kept bouncing them. You can do the same thing. Once you start chipping away at these, one after another, that FICO score starts going up. These cards can go, wait, we want them back. We want making those payments, paying those high interest. Nope. It's so much easier to live it. If I don't make it clear, if you're like, what in the world? I think I got it, Dan. Email us, info@PaydownDebtSolutions. You can ask for sheets. We'll send them to you to help you get organized. You can, if you want to call in or a coaching call, you can message us. It's not necessary. Get the worksheets. We'll answer any questions you have. Email us. There's a little video I got included in the email that'll help you fill out the sheets. And then when you start implementing this, just ask us. Just send me a screenshot of the sheet and go, hey, is this one I start with? Is this number 2? Is this number 3? And I'll take a quick one and go, yes. We are here to help you guys. We want everyone to succeed doing this. That's why we don't leave out any detail. At least we try not to, right? But it is so much easier to live. I'm going to keep working on my presentations. Jen is she's a better planner than I am. I come up here kind of off the cuff because I usually stop finish the student. I come in here, I'm like, all right, I'm going to just show a video with an example. I think it'll help some people. Your feedback's let me know how it's working out. I'm Dan, Pay Down Debt Solutions. Always aligned, never alone. Thank you.